Hello, and welcome back to the Play Stamp Here show. Today is the 7th episode and the 4th installment of the album fill series. Now, you should stick around and watch this video because we're going to be experimenting in addition to some of the other chemicals we've been using to remove stamps. We're going to add grain alcohol to that mix and some acetone or nail polish remover. And we're also going to be discussing how to tell the differences between two versions of this Liberty stamp and 3 different versions of each of these 2 stamps here. Now, if you're new to this series, you might want to watch it in order. You don't have to. Basically going to go through the entire USPS catalog of self-adhesive stamps, and each stamp has a little date on it. So today we're going to be dealing with the self-adhesive stamps that have a date of 1997 on them. There's about 16 designs and roughly 23 issues of stamps that came out this year in a self-adhesive format. If you're keeping score at home with this album fill series, at the end of the 3rd episode, we were 63 of 77, about 82%, and today's 23 stamps will make that an even 100. So let's see how close to 100 we can get. And as an added bonus for today's episode, I did recently buy, it was a Minkus album with all the pages for US stamps between like 1847 and 2002. One of the reasons why I bought this album, and I might do a whole episode on the reasons why I spent a lot of money on this album, but one of those reasons is going to come to light today with this series. There was a number of those stamps that we were missing from 1995 and 1996 in there. And since it only goes to 2002, we're just going to be taking stamps out of there in addition to those packets we have and try to complete our collection. So let's get to it. We're going to sort the stamps, and then we're going to remove some of them from paper. And then we're going to take one of each of the different stamps that I happen to have a copy of, and we're going to be putting those into my stamp album. Enjoy! All right, as you can see, we're going to be sorting the 1997 stamps today. There should be about 22 different stamps, maybe 24. These are all the stamps that have a 1997 date on them. Again, postmarks like this we're going to use as a last resort. 2 love stamps. This one's for like the wedding invitations. This one is just for first class letters. A holly Christmas stamp. Now there are 3 different versions of these 2 stamps here. Pineapple and citron. And there's a couple different versions of this Liberty stamp. Here's the famous Bugs Bunny stamp. And here's the last of those 4 or 5 rose stamps. This one's a yellow rose again, but it's on a coil. Then here's it's Madonna and Child. Okay, here's that other plant. I think this is citron. This is a water activated gum, so we're just gonna set that aside over there. Neither of those are 1997. Here's the Black Heritage. Here's the Flag of Report stamp. That's 1997. Here's the Chuck Yeager Supersonic X1 flight, 1997. 50th anniversary of that. Breaking the sound barrier. The last jukebox stamp that we need. Here's the mountain stamp we need. There. Here's 2 singles from souvenir sheets. This one's a water activated gum stamp as well. Here's a Kwanzaa stamp. I think this might be the last design we were missing. Take these 2 away. This guy somewhere else. Are these lick and stick stamps? Yeah, these are water activated gum stamps as well. I forgot about that. Okay, so that leaves us with 16 different designs. I think there is only 16 different designs. All right, so this is going to be our keeper pile here for a while. There's 1 Kwanzaa stamp. There's 1 Flag of Report stamp. And these Bugs Bunny stamps. This light thing out here. We are going to try to soak at least 1 of each of these if possible. This has a place stamp here on it. I'll put this one over here for now in our save pile. There's only 2 mountain stamps. I like this one better. So this is going to be the book pile, and this is the extras. That's in the soak pile. This is in the keeper pile for now. Jukeboxes. I like this one the best. This one looks like it could be on the original backing paper. It could be a mint stamp. Yeah, it is. So I'm going to set this aside for postage. 2 Madonna and Child booklet stamps they have, or this could be a sheet, that have all 4 sides with those fake perforations on there. So I'm going to set that one aside. But dang it, there is a second flag of report stamp. So we're missing a flag of report. And I can't even see this pile. That's my soaking pile. That's my tours pile. A couple of these that have perforations on all four sides. So we're going to save this one for the book. Here's another mint stamp on the backing paper still. All right, so that's it for sorting. So now we're going to soak off some of the stamps that have the date 1997 on them. There are about 16 designs and like 22 or 23 stamps total. I have 13 of the 16 designs here that we're going to attempt to soak off using water. Because remember, there's a thin layer of water-soluble gum or some kind of material that is in between that wafer thin layer of the sticky self-adhesive and the paper of the stamp. So these stamps, if they come off in water, the sticky part will be on the paper that we're going to throw away. Now we do have a few stamps here that have place stamp here's on them. These ones we won't be soaking with water because we want the adhesive to stick to the stamp and not to the paper, because we're going to be using that paper for our tours collection. But I'm trying my favorite bucket today. We're just going to pour some water in here, and then we're going to soak these stamps. And if you watched our 1995 and 1996 album fill series episodes, I showed pretty much every stamp that I soaked off paper to try to streamline this process, because there's only 22, 23 stamps for 1997, but after here, that number is going to keep going up and up and up until we get to like 100 plus stamps a year. So all the stamps that come off in a particular way, like how I was peeling them off the paper after soaking them in water for the last year's issue, I'm only going to end up showing one of those, and I'll show you all of the stamps that came off that way. And then the problem ones, I might leave those in, and then I'll be using some chemicals or whatnot to get those off of paper. All right, so we got the water in the Tupperware container here, or Rubbermaid, and we're gonna throw about half of these in there. Like I said, we got about 13 or so stamps to go through. I did just throw one of each variety in here, like those cockroach and pineapple and citron stamps. There's 2 or 3 different versions of those. I'm just doing one of each design. If you notice this 55 cent or the 32 cent love stamp, that's from a first day cover. It says first day of issue on there. Someone got desperate and decided to cut that off the envelope. I always think that's kind of funny to see, the mixture of stamps. We're gonna let that soak for a minute. We'll be back. Well, this one looks like it's coming off a lot easier. But these feel thinner to me than the 96 stamps. There's that glue on there. I'll try to get that from all 4 sides. Hopefully it'll all stay off the stamp. Oh, I think I got it all. Yeah. All right, try this rose one again. Yeah, I'm losing some of the paper on this stamp. And I just tore a big chunk out of it. Yeah, I would say this yellow rose is stamps the best. So we're going to try another copy. Just in case that was a fluke, we're going to throw another one of those in there. Here's that second rose stamp. And this one's coming off way better than that last one. Oh, did I just tear it? No. There we go. Holly stamp. This is the contemporary Christmas stamp or holiday stamp for 1997. You just gotta work around the edges like a puzzle. And this one's giving me a lot of fight back, so I'm gonna let that soak. All right. I feel like this is tearing some of the stamp off a little bit. I can't tell if that's just adhesive or not. Yeah, I think that's part of the paper. I'm gonna throw another one of those X1 stamps in there with Chuck Yeager in the cockpit. All right, I'm just gonna try another copy of that. It just damaged the stamp a little bit. I'm gonna try another holly stamp as well, because we do have a bunch of these. But otherwise, I mean, for the most part, these are all coming off pretty easy compared to like those Christmas stamps from a year ago. Okay, this is the second attempt for the supersonic flight stamp. Yeah, this one's giving me a bit of resistance again. It's not as bad as some of the ones we've seen already. I think what's on there right now is part of the envelope, so we're going to let this soak a little bit longer. Hopefully, if there is that layer of the stuff that's supposed to dissolve in water, now that it'll have lots of access to that, so it'll just come off. This one's still hugging the paper. Yeah, this feels really thin. Yeah. So far, I wouldn't recommend doing these holly stamps. All right, we're gonna try this again. coming off, but it's taking more work than it should, if that makes sense. But this definitely feels like it's the envelope paper and not part of the stamp, so that's good. I'll let this back in there for a minute. Hopefully we can get that last piece of paper off there. I did have to re-soak this one a couple times. But I think I got it. All right, and there's just a tiny little bit right there. Okay, so it is doable. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to put those stamps into a drawing book. This one, the plastic pages, there's kind of a smooth side and like a gritty side. So we're going to put these on the smooth side of this one. We're going to close this up and put some weight on it. This time we're going to do the kind of backwards of what we just did. We had pretty good success with getting those stamps off paper, but now we're going to be doing the ones with the tours underneath. And the difference between these and those is those ones didn't care about the paper underneath, and these ones I do. This time we're going to try to get the glue to go on to the back of the stamp instead of on the paper so that we can use those tours. And we're also going to be attempting a couple more of those holly stamps. I believe that was the most difficult to get rid of in the last run. All right, we're going to try something new today that I read online. We're going to be soaking the stamps with Everclear. It's grain alcohol. It's 151 proof. There is a 190 proof version, but you can't buy it in Idaho. I believe you could buy it in Washington, where I used to live. And I did do a shot of this in college once, and I instantly regretted it. But I'm just going to be filling this little jar here that has a lid. So in theory, if this works, this stuff is cheaper than the Bestine, and it's less likely to give me neurological damage if I don't drink it than the Bestine, and it shouldn't evaporate as easily as the Bestine. Just enough to get the stamp submerged. We're gonna try one of these love swans first. So we're just gonna take it and we're gonna stick it in the Everclear for about 10 seconds. You can see that's not good. The ink on the postmark's coming off already, or the ink from the paper or something. Um, and the paper doesn't seem to be separating. So this might already be a bust. I'm going to leave it in there for a little longer. All right, pull this out. And I know this is alcohol abuse. I think the shot I did in college was the 190 proof. And man, I thought my head was going to explode. Yeah, I'm going to call this busted. That didn't seem to work at all. All right, so I'm going to put this back in the jar for right now. We might try again later with a different stamp. Okay, so the next one we're going to try is good old pure citrus. We'll let that soak in for a second. I might lift this up and kind of rub the stamp around a little bit in it. That's really tight on there still. Spray a little bit more in there. Getting the stamp off. That one says extra postage required. All right, so we're just gonna see if we can't scrape more of that glue off. See, there's a bunch on that razor blade. So I found in my utility closet, I found another version of Goo Gone. This is a spray gel, and this says citrus power, and I think it uses the same active ingredient as the pure citrus does. I think first we're going to use more of this pure citrus stuff since we have it sitting here on the table. Kind of use the stamps to mop this up a little bit. This is that holly stamp. I'm going to give it a little bit more. Yeah, this wasn't ready to come off. I just took part of the stamp paper off on here. Yeah, that's a bust. While we're sitting here, I am going to take that Everclear we just used, and I'm going to drop one of these Holly stamps in it. Now, maybe the Everclear thing only works with the 190 proof and not the 151, but we're just going to let that guy soak in there for a while we try something else with these other guys. This one's coming off a little bit. This is from a postcard. Looks like there's only a barcode under there. All right. But the stamp came off all right. Oh, it doesn't seem to be any adhesive on there. Now we're going to try that Goo Gone spray. Do the back of this stamp here. This is a gel. So we're just going to spread this around a little bit. I'm going to try to use some of that on this stamp too. You can see how it started entering the paper right away from the front. All right, so we're going to let that one sit. We're going to pull this one up. And we're going to see if this will come up. So far, it doesn't feel like it. Let that sit in there for a hot second. Yeah, this isn't working on the holly stamp either. I think that Goo Gone gel is a bust. All right, so let's go back to the pure citrus. I really want this place stamp here. Take this, hopefully peel this off. Yeah, this is working a lot better. Just nice and slow. I have not seen this design of a place stamp here before, so I'm excited about that. All right, we're going to put a couple more of these stamps into this area. Put some gloves on. This top right envelope statement I'm not too worried about. I have a few of them here. This one's been soaking in the water for a while. This is one of the ones we tried with the gel, I believe. Anything. Right. I'm going to put this aside for right now. We're going to try some Bestine. Actually, you know what? We're going to try some acetone. I heard this works as well. Test that out. Just pour some in here. This is just nail polish remover from your grocery store. We're going to take one of those holly stamps, stick it in there. Definitely want to use this in a well ventilated area. I can see it getting through to the back of the stamp. Just kind of soak in there a little bit. Oh, there we go. Acetone got the holly stamp off. Alright, next. I'm going to try that again, but this time with one of these Liberty stamps. Just kind of let that sit in there. Although I'm seeing some of the ink come off. That's not good. Whoa, whoa. Did you guys see that? Yeah, that's not a good idea. I was all excited about buying something new. Wow. In comparison, let me get a clean pair of tongs so I don't have any transfer. Look at the difference here between these two stamps. That just ate all the ink off. Well, not all the ink off, but you know what I mean. Wow. But I got my printed in USA, I guess. So don't use acetone on your stamps, guys. Some people swear by it, but wow, I ate that stamp. I'm gonna stick this on my. I'm gonna let this dry out a little bit. All right, we're gonna check on that stamp that's in the Everclear. Now clearly, um, these holly stamps are different than the Liberty stamps. This has been in there for quite a while now. Um, this is coming off. The web forum I was on that the guy said to use this said you just have to dunk it in there for 10 seconds. That might be true for modern self-adhesives, and maybe these are a little different, but it works. So I guess it's not a bust. Um, it just took, 5, 10, 20 minutes. I think it washed the postmark away. You can see some faint black lines there, but the design of the stamp is great. I'm going to put a stamp in here that isn't a holly stamp, and we're just going to see if that reacts different to the Everclear. Also, I don't know how many times you can reuse the Everclear. We're going to pull this out. See if this is separating yet. It is taking the ink with it from the bottom. And this isn't grabbing, this is grabbing some of the paper off the envelope. So I'm going to put that back in for a second. Let's see, we got 2 left. One's one of those holly stamps. So I'm going to use some of that Goo Gone we were using in the last episode. This is not the citrus-based one. This is the petroleum-based product. I don't know exactly what the... I'm just going to... let some of that soak in on that side. Then we're going to do this side. And let's stick on the Everclear stamp. Yeah, see, I should let this soak a little longer the first time, because now it's coming right off. Now I'm going to try that X1 stamp in there. No, that's already been kind of lifted a little bit, so that should get under the stamp. So we're going to let that sit for a minute. We're going to go back to this one with the original Goo Gone. It's not quite ready yet. We're just going to try some of that goof off from last time. We got 3 different projects going on right now. Or that glue gun's not working for the poly stamp. That goof off's working for the swan stamp. All the glues on the stamp. Back of the stamp's still a little sticky. It seems to be rubbing off okay. It's better. Alright, we're going to check on this stamp here again. This is in the Everclear. Yeah, this doesn't seem to be doing super hot. We're going to stick that back in the Everclear. We're just going to let it sit in there for like another 10 minutes or so. Yeah, these holly stamps do not want to come off. I'm going to dip this one back in the acetone since we got it here and everything. Although it looks like the acetone might be eating the plastic of this container. So yeah, don't play around with acetone, I guess. I'm gonna move this to a glass container. Maybe that's less reactive than the plastic. I'm just gonna throw this away. There we go. That's a nice clean break. The Acetone, like I said, it looks like it kind of ate the postmark, but this holly stamp's intact. It's not sticky anymore. Now, just for fun, we're gonna put this damaged rose stamp in there and see if that eats up the ink like it did on the Liberty stamp. Yeah, it looks like it's eaten something. Definitely eaten the postmark. I'm gonna try a couple more damage stamp. This guy has some scotch tape on the bottom and on the top. And if you know anything about scotch tape and stamps, it's really hard to get off. Allison Davis. This is a water activated gum stamp. So I kind of want to see what the acetone is going to do to that scotch tape. It didn't melt the ink. Let's see if the scotch tape will come off the stamp. Not yet. Let's leave that in there for a couple minutes. Let's go back to that Everclear stamp. Come on. Okay, well, I got the tour. The adhesive's just rolling right off the stamp. That's why it was sitting in the Everclear for, I don't know, 10 to 15 minutes. All right, so I'm going to put a cap on this Everclear. I am going to use it again someday. But this acetone, if this gets the scotch tape off, that might be kind of interesting. Because usually, if you got scotch tape on a stamp, that's a death sentence pretty much. Hmm. Put this away so I'm not breathing the fumes. This piece is a lot thinner, so it's harder to get a grab on it. I'm gonna put this back in there a little bit. There you go. Shouldn't be doing this without gloves, but got scotch tape off a stamp. I mean, it's not perfect, but it did it. Alright, I'm gonna get the drawing book out. I'm gonna put these stamps away. As much as I like to sit here and try to melt some other stamps with acetone, I'm gonna give that a rest for now. Here's those stamps from earlier. These are pretty much done. I'm gonna leave these overnight though, just so they get nice and flat. This is one of the holly stamps. This might be the first one we try to get. Still got a lot of the glue on the back. That one's torn, so I'm just gonna throw it away. Alright, so that's it for right now. We're gonna let these dry overnight, and we'll come back and put them in our album. We got our 1997 stamps that were in that drawing book we soaked off. And it's been a little bit more than a couple days. These have been here for a while. I went to Utah for a week and some other stuff in the meantime. But I'm just going to check out how these did. I could smell the citrus spray on some of these. Here's that one that the nail polish remover ate. All right, so we're going to put this away. I can't remember if I mixed the extras off paper with the ones I was going to put in my album, so I'm just going to bring these all out. But then I'm going to go through these with my list and figure out which ones are going to go in the album real quick. And then I'll be back. Now, if you remember, 1997 is kind of a dip for self-adhesive stamps. It's the only time that the number of self-adhesives actually goes down before it goes back up. So there's about, I throw a lot of numbers around the show. There's like 23, 24 different varieties of 16 different designs. Now, 11 of these designs, these three bottom rows here, they only have one variety, which isn't technically true. There is an imperfect version of the Bugs Bunny stamp. And I did find a used pane of the die cut Bugs Bunny stamp. That's the one's postmarked and then soaked off paper. So the pane and the stamp are separated. I'm going to kind of join those together with a hinge or two, and I might do something with that in my album. But anyway, so you have these 11 designs here, where other than that imperfect Bugs Bunny, there's only one version of these that has a 1997 on it. Whereas these five right here, the two, one's a flowering pineapple with cockroaches or something, and the other one is a citron. There's three different versions of both these two stamps. We're going to get to that in a second. And then there's two different flag over port stamps. These are actually both the varieties. One's a coil right here, and the other one is a booklet, and they both have red dates on them. And then there are 2 or 3 versions of the Liberty stamp, and then there's a perforation variety of the Holly stamp. I don't think I have the perforation variety, but we're going to check these anyway. So I'm going to do that real quick. And again, like I said, these are the 16 designs, and then 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, if you counted the imperfect version of this. It's about 24 varieties for stamps that have 1997 date on them. We're going to scoop these up and clean up a bit, and then we're going to try to see if we have they're basically die cut varieties of those 4 stamps. The first stamp we're going to take a closer look at is these 32-cent Liberty stamps. Now, if you recognize this design, it's because there was that Statue of Liberty stamp that had the straight edges from like 1993 or 1994. This is the same design. Now it has those die cuts. And these are all booklet stamps. There's several different forms of the type of booklets. Like 3122 comes in a convertible booklet sheet of 20, but also comes in vending machine booklets, like a more traditional booklet, in panes of like 4, 5 with a label, and in panes of 6. Whereas the 3122E, that also comes in booklet panes of 20 plus a label and booklet panes of 6. Now, both versions have a plate block number, or just a plate number, single that's in one of the booklet panels of 6 that has a little V1111. I have one here. I'm going to show it real quick. It's got that V1111 on the bottom there. So I'm going to show you really quick how I think you can tell these two different issues apart. I'm just going to separate the ones that are on paper versus off paper real quick. This one is off center by quite a bit. This is a little unusual for self-adhesive stamps to have one that is this much shifted. It's not shifted enough where it would be an item of interest to a lot of collectors who collect errors and freaks and oddities. I'm supposed to set that next to the plate number. Now the trick to these, at least in my opinion, is that the 3122 is going to have 10 of the peaks of the die cut on the top or the bottom. Because I believe it's die cut 11 on all 4 sides, although sometimes there's only die cuts on 2, 3, or 4 sides. And then on the 3122E, there's going to be about 12 of those peaks along the top and about 14 on the sides, because that one's going to be die cut 11.5 along the top and 11.8 along the sides. So there's going to be more of those peaks and valleys, and they have a slightly different shape as well. But this one, if you're counting along, this is the left side here. There's 12 on the side, and then there's going to be about 11 on the bottom. Both of those on the corners are kind of like partial, and then it's got straight edges on the corners. So I would say that this is a 3122. And this one here, you can see, has 12 along the top, and about 14 along the right hand side. This one's a bottom corner one. So 12 and 14 makes this a 3122E in my opinion. And if you were to look at the two together, these definitely don't line up. If you look at the upper left, I'm trying to line up those first two. You can see how it quickly loses the match there. The corners are definitely different. I'm just going to show you on the sides here as well. Line these two guys on the upper left, you can definitely see the teeth or the peaks of the die cuts quickly becoming unmatched. So these two are definitely different stamps. I'm just going to kind of run through these really quick. So this one has 10 along the top and 12 along the side. So we're going to put that in the 3122 pile. And that one has the die cuts on all 4 sides. So I'm going to set that one aside for right now. And if you look at a picture of some of these booklets, some of these booklet panes, both of these are going to come in those collapsible or convertible booklet panes of 20. So those ones you're going to get 5 stamps for each booklet pane that's going to have the die cuts on all 4 sides. But these panes of like 4, 5, or 6 are going to have straight edges along the sides and sometimes the bottom. So you're not going to get all 4 sides with the die cuts. So if you see with all 4 sides, it's from the convertible booklet. Now I did buy an album recently. This is a page, one of the pages from it. And you can see here, there's that 29-cent Liberty stamp we did earlier. On the bottom here, he has these labeled as 3122 and 3122E. Well, his says 3132E, but I think he meant 3122E. But if you count the ones on the set one, he says, so 3122E, you got 12 along the top and like 13 or 14 along the side. And then these guys that are on paper, I'm just going to check these out real quick to see if we have any more 3122Es, and I'm going to try to soak one of each if possible. All right, so I've taken the time to identify these. I did have a few more 3122Es, and a bunch more 3122s. So now we're going to do the holly stamps. Now there is a die cut variety of these. Okay, so upon further review, I couldn't find any reference to a 9.9 perforation holly stamp. I think what happened was this Christmas, the traditional Christmas stamp with the Madonna and Child, this isn't a 9.9 die cut. And I think somehow notes got jumbled because this is 3176, I think, and this one's 3177. And I heard there was a 9.9 version of the holly stamp, but I can't find it listed anywhere, so I'm just going to assume that the notes just got crossed on these two Christmas stamps. So there are different booklet varieties of this stamp, but the convertible booklet does have those 4 or 5 stamps in the middle that have the die cuts on all 4 sides. So I'm going to throw this one into the album pile, which just leaves us for the pineapple stamp and the citron stamp. Now, there's 3 different versions of this stamp, or of each of these 2 stamps. 3126 and 3127 are one version of stamp that came out in one of those convertible booklets of 20. And each of those booklets of 20 would have about 10 of each stamp. And there would be those die cut on all 4 side varieties for the 5 middle stamps in the booklet. The next 2 would be 3128 and 3129. Those came in a vending machine booklet. Now the vending machine booklet had panes of 5 stamps. And they did something weird with these stamps. And you're going to see this a couple more times over the next couple of years. The panes, they were booklets of 10, I think, or 15. And what they would do is they would have 4 of the stamps, 2 of each design, 2 3128s and 2 3129s be the upright ones. And then the 5th stamp would be one of the 2 designs, but mounted sideways on the booklet. Now, when they did that, they caused a variety of stamp that has different die cuts just because it has to fit sideways onto the stamp. Now the convertible booklet, 3126, 3127, they're die cut in a 10.9 by 10.2, but 3128 and 3129 are die cut 11.2 by 10.8. Now the 3128A and the 3129A, the ones that are mounted sideways, are going to be die cut 11.2 on the top and the bottom, 10.8 on the left side, and then where they connect with the other 2 stamps, it's going to be 11.2 die cut, but it's going to have a weird sloping die cut kind of in the middle where it meets the 2 stamps in that joint there. So we're going to see if we have 3 versions of each stamp. And hopefully we have some of those 3129As and 3128As. Now if the stamp is die cut on all 4 sides, it should be 3126 or 3127. Unless it has that weird die cut on the side, then it's a 3128A or a 3129A. So I'm just going to look for the ones that are die cut on all 4 sides. So right now, these are the winners for the 3126 and 3127 for the book. But I also have that album page that I bought recently. This one actually has a 3128A and a 3129A. Now, I'll show you in a second how I can tell that. And the other 5 there on the bottom, I believe those are the 3126 or 3127s. Now I'm going to turn the microscope on here. So along the right side, see how there's this right here kind of odd sloping die cut. That's what makes this 3128 or 3129A, this little guy right there. You could see on here as well. This is the other one. Has this kind of drooping, longer perforation right, or die cut right here. Those are cockroaches, by the way. Like I said, you can see that on the booklet sheet of 5, or those stamps, how they're sideways like that. But you can see there on the left, right there, where in between the 2 stamps going down, that weird sloping on the right-hand side of that left stamp that's upright, that weird sloping die cut between the two other stamps. So those are definitely going in the album. So these 2 still go in my book. This is 3126, 3127. To the best of my knowledge, I can't find a picture of a 3128 or 3129 that looks like this. So I'm just going to assume that these are 3126 or 27s. And we'll just take that as a loss at this point. So we're at the phase in our episode where we put the stamps into our album. We're going to be doing the 1997 stamps. But as a bonus, we also have a bunch of stamps that I got in that stamp album I've been showing you. I've already pulled them off, but this stamp album had a bunch of flag over porch stamps. There's more on this page, including some of the ones that we were missing from 1995, 1996. Now, this stamp album I bought goes from like 1910 to 2001 or 2002, somewhere around there. There aren't a lot of stuff after that, but there were a bunch of stamps that we missed in our 95 and 96 series. And so I don't think we're going to have to do another like update episode like this. So today we're just going to put in the stamps together as we find. Here's the 1995 blue date coil, the 2915 that we didn't have in the 1995 episode. Here's the 2915B blue 96 date that we didn't have in the last episode of the album fill series. And then here is the 2915D, the red 1997 date coil that is from today's episode. So we're just going to be putting those three in here, and then we'll be done with this page. Feel really good about finishing this page. There are a couple more flag of report stamps that aren't on this page. I don't know why they couldn't fit them all on one page, but we'll get to those. And again, the album I bought had a bunch of these coils that I was missing, including those linerless ones here. And there's a single here. So we're going to be getting to that in a minute. But here is we're missing two mountain stamps on this page. One's a 96, that is 2904A. And the other one is 97, 2904B. And those are both right here. And there's a regular version and version with the plate number coil single on there. So we're going to be taking these two top stamps and put them right here. And you could see here in my book, it says large purple 1996 for the 2904A. And you could see, what is this, a 2903 small purple to 1996. You could see the difference there on the dates. If I could zoom in on that. Small date, large date. Page is done. That's another stamp we were missing from 96. We have here the 1997 jukebox. It's going to go there. I believe this missing tail fin stamp is a water activated gum stamp, so not too worried about that. But we do have this 97 jukebox 2912B. So put that in there. And I picked one that had a circular cancel on it because a lot of these, like bulk rate, first class, pre-sort, non-profit, they don't necessarily have to be canceled. But this one had a cancel on it, so I'm throwing this one in there. For the next two stamps that I got from that album, we're going to be putting in the peach and pear coils. I happened to get a copy of each, and these can be pretty pricey. This is one of the reasons why I bought this album, is because it had a lot of these coils I was missing. And this page is done. And this is my 74 to 94 album. These are the last self-adhesives that were to be put in that album. So we won't be having to come back here for this series. All right, on this page, we have 6 stamps we were missing from 1995. And again, this is a page from that Minkus album I bought. And it has the 4 coils of the Victorian postcards. It has the coil of the Midnight Angel. It has the plate number coil for the Midnight Angel and the plate number coil for the Victorian postcard here. And it also has the children sledding Victorian postcard ATM stamp. Those are the 6 that we're missing on this page. Here's the Midnight Angel coil. This children sledding ATM stamp is very thin. I don't think it's because the material was removed. Just a very thin stamp. Most of these 6 stamps are selling for like anywhere from $3 to $6 a piece, and there aren't very many for sale. And for the 5 coils, good luck finding a used copy. So I was really happy to find these in that album, because if it would have ended up spending way too much money on these. All right, doing pretty good. I think so far we've found 9 of the 95 stamps we were missing. All right, the next one in line is Scott 3054. This is the yellow rose coil. I think this is the last of those rose stamps. There was the red one, then the pink one, and a couple versions of the yellow. There'll be more rose stamps. There's a lot of rose stamps, but these were of the same design, basically. We'll be back for some of these in the next episode. I mean, there's some rose stamps right there from 99 and 2000. All right, there's 6 1997 stamps on this page. These typically come out in January for Black History Month. For those wedding invitations. This Helping Children Learn stamp was designed and illustrated by Chris Van Allsburg, who is the author and illustrator of the book Jumanji, which the movie is based off of. And the movie would have came out the year before this, or 2 years before the stamp. Let's see, and then we got the Liberty stamps. So this one's the 3122 because it has 10 of those peaks along the top and 12 on the sides. This one is the 3122E because it has about 15 peaks, 14 or 15 peaks on the side, and like 13 along the top. That page is done. This next page has one of the 96 stamps we didn't have a single of that we have now, thanks to that album page. Here's a plate number coil 3 of that stamp, but here's a single right here. That has printed on fake perforation holes. And then I just noticed something while I was putting these together. I'm a little embarrassed to admit this, but here's the stamps that go right here. The 3126 is right here, the 3127, and then here's the 3128A and the 3129A. And those are the ones that have that goofy little sloping die cut because they were sideways. Well, there's an obvious size difference between these. So I do not have a regular 3128 or 3129. I thought these were all the same design size, but you can clearly see that these 2 stamps are shorter than these 2 stamps. So in the future, as I come across these, it'll be really easy to figure out if it's a 3126 or 3127, or if it's a 3128 or a 3129, because it's several millimeters shorter than the one next to it. So that's good to know for the future. But in the meantime, since my album doesn't have a space for 3128A and the 3129A, I'm going to end up putting them basically down here with a little notation underneath them to let you know that they're different. And these guys I'm just going to put in their spaces. And we only have 6 more 97 stamps to go. All right, so that's it for that page. Now this page is just missing the Bugs Bunny stamp. And this one has a 1997 locked on the nose cancel, so that's why I'm picking this one. That page is done. 4 of the remaining stamps are going to be on this page. Got the X1 Christmas stamp, Madonna and Child. Here's the Kwanzaa stamp. I think this is the first Kwanzaa stamp. And then here's that Holly stamp. So those are all the self-adhesives on this page. Now for that last 97 stamp, couldn't find it in the album, but then I remembered that's because there isn't a space for it in my album, similar to those pineapple and citron stamps, where the ones that were sideways and have that special die cut didn't have a place in my album. So this is 2921B. This is a booklet stamp. It has a red 1997 date on it. We went back to the first page in this album. This is the regular 2921. Has a 96 date. But if you look here, Scott Specialized Catalog, under 2921, there's a 2921B, which has a 1997 date. And for some strange reason, they don't give that a space in the album. So we're just going to put this one below it, and we're going to write in 2921B, like we did with those citron and pineapple stamps. And that's where it's going to stay. All right, so that was a crazy episode. We dissolved some ink off of stamps with acetone. Then we found out that by using acetone, we can remove scotch tape from stamps. I might do a separate video on that. I'm going to go through my bag of damaged stamps and try to pull out a few more that have scotch tape on them and then see just how well we can get those off. Although it did seem to be removing the postmarks from the stamps. So I don't know if that's a viable way to collect older stamps. I know with coins, there's a certain patina on like the silver coins that collectors value. And if you were to wash them with like a polish and lose that patina, then that's considered a cleaned coin and it's not worth as much. So I'm assuming that doing something that removes the postmark from a stamp is frowned upon. But we did pretty well. I mean, we got a little boost from that album I bought. We found 9 of the 10 1995 stamps that I was missing. The last one remaining is the 2920B, I believe, which is a small date flag over porch booklet stamp with a red 1995 on it. And then we found 3 of the 4 1996 stamps we were missing. The remaining one was that Silverdale Riverboat commemorative stamp. And we found 20 of the 23 1997 stamps. And the 3 that we didn't have were those smaller pineapple and citron stamps. The 3128 and 3129, I believe. And the third one was the Bugs Bunny and Perforat stamp. And I think I might have said this in this episode, those sell for like $100. So that being said, finding the 12 of the stamps we were missing and 20 of the 23 stamps from 1997, we are at 95 of 100 so far for the first 100 self-adhesive stamps put out by the United States, which is 95%, obviously. So we're looking forward to doing the 98 episode. I think there's 46, 47, 48 issues from 1998. And there's a few other stamps that have several different versions of them, like those pineapple stamps did. So I'm looking forward to tackling those next. And that's it for this episode. Be sure to subscribe and like this video. That helps a lot. And if I got anything wrong, comment below. You can reach out to me on Twitter. My handle is @PlayStampHere. I'm on Instagram @PlayStampHereShow. And you can write to me. I've gotten about 4 pieces of fan mail so far. Thanks, guys. At Playstamp Here Show, Post Office Box 921, Twin Falls, Idaho 83303-0921. I hope you're enjoying this series. I'm still tweaking things to try and make these a little bit run a little bit faster. But in the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next episode. All right, bye.